back to another episode of Guns and Guitars, the channel that's all about helping you find high-end performance on a low-end budget. And today, we are going to be looking at low magnification rifle scopes that were developed primarily for the AR-15. And we're going to be looking at the best budget options that you can get for less than $200. Now, there's a specific reason why I chose $200 as the cap for this video, but we'll talk more about that later. I'm Dan, this is Guns and Guitars, let's get started. Here's the deal. If you guys follow my channel, you probably have already seen some of my other videos on the best budget firearms accessories for less than $50. And that's a series that I want to keep going. However, for these low magnification AR-15 specific optics, there just wasn't anything under $50 that is actually designed to handle the recoil of a real rifle. I mean, anything like this in the sub $50 range is going to be designed specifically for airsoft and paintball, so we can't look at any of those optics. Now, I tried really hard to put together a video of the best budget optics under $100, but even still, there's only a couple of manufacturers that actually make real rifle scopes for that price range, and I tried them out and they just weren't that good. While they are up to the task of rifle recoil, they are just a bit bulky, a bit heavy, and more importantly, the optics clarity, in my opinion, was just not there. And you guys know that I'm by no means an optics snob, okay? I really feel like the price tag has absolutely nothing to do with it as long as the optic is good enough to be something that I would trust to protect my life with. So what I did is I upped the budget to $200, and that got us into 4 really good options. Now, if you are active military or law enforcement and you're gonna be taking this rifle into combat on a daily basis, definitely want to spend a little bit more. But for the average weekend sportsman, these options are really awesome for less than $200. All right, let's go ahead and start at the top of the list with our least expensive option. This is the Bushnell Drop Zone 223 1-4x24 AR optics. Now, this is an awesome little optic for the price. This comes in at the cheapest on our list at just, well, I've seen them as low as $150. In fact, I think that's the current price on Amazon right now, so definitely check out that affiliate link in the description for more information. There are 3 really good reasons why you should consider this optic, especially at that price point. One is it comes with a throwdown lever, so you can quickly go between 1 and 4 times magnification extremely easy. This is the fastest moving magnification of all the optics on this list. It's nice and smooth, and the lever folds out of the way when you don't need it. Another reason is the fast focus eyepiece, okay? This is great for really dialing in that one-time magnification. Something that you guys may not know about these low magnification 1-4 or 1-6 or 1-8 style optics is that the one-time setting is actually not a true 1 times at all distances. With the fast focus eyepiece, you can really dial in whatever distance you want that true 1-to-1 to be. It just makes it easy for you to shoot both eyes open at whatever distance targets you're going to be shooting at most often. And with this fast focus eyepiece, this was the only one that I could actually dial in a true 1-to-1 as close as 10 feet away. And the third reason why I really like this optic, especially at this price point, is the drop zone reticle. It's really fast, especially when you're flipping back and forth between 1 and 4 to dial in your holdovers at ranges up to 500 yards. This optic also has turrets adjustable at 0.1 mil, which is very close to quarter MOA. Speaking of accuracy, this is the group that I shot at 100 yards with my match grade AR. This is the rifle that I used to test the accuracy, shooting groups at 100 yards, and I was not using match grade ammo, I was just using Wolf Gold. So I shot 5 shot groups, and I'm subtracting 1 flyer from the group because I can just chalk that up to ammo inconsistency. And if you discount the 1 flyer for using cheap ammunition, we have half MOA accuracy. In fact, there are 2 bullets there in the same hole, which is pretty awesome. Now, at that super low price point, they did make a couple of sacrifices. One being that it is not illuminated. This is not an illuminated reticle. They do offer the BTR1, which is their next tier up, and that gets just slightly over $200. I'll put a link in the description. But the BTR1 is a fabulous optic if you absolutely need to have that illuminated reticle. And at that price point, it actually gets you into a first focal plane reticle as well, which means that it expands as you zoom in and contracts as you zoom out, so that those drop zone settings are the same no matter what magnification you are. Very cool optic. I think it probably belongs on this list if it was regularly under $200, but it is not. Next up on the list, we have the winner for the most features available at this price point. This is the TRUGLO TRU-Brite 30, and this is actually a 1:6 by 24. So as opposed to the other 1:4 optics on the list, this actually gets you 2 times more magnification on the high end. This also includes a throw lever, though not quite as smooth as the Bushnell. You can quickly adjust between 1 and all the way up to 6 times magnification. But unlike the Bushnell, this is an illuminated reticle rifle scope, and it is daylight bright. You can run this on both green and red illuminated settings, and the reticle has built-in holdovers for windage and elevation. And it comes with target turrets for both 223 and 308. So if you wanted to mount this on an AR-10, you totally could, and you could use the target turrets for adjusting your windage and elevation for shooting at various distances. Now, I personally don't use those target turrets on an AR-15 style setup. I just dial in my 0 at 50 yards, and then I like to use the built-in holdovers for windage and elevation when I'm shooting on the fly. But if some of you guys are that type of shooter, it's good to know that those features are there. It's also the only optic on this list that comes with flip-up lens covers, and they do lock and flip up very easily. And unlike any other optic on this list, it comes with its own mount, okay? That's a big deal when you are factoring in your budget for your optic. If it doesn't come with a mount, you're gonna have to factor in budget for a mount as well. This is my target with shooting the TRUGLO optic. As you can see, if you drop that one flyer right there, I put 3 shots basically in one hole, one just outside of it. Definitely sub MOA accuracy if you discount one flyer for not using match grade ammo or a match grade shooter. All that being said, I know this sounds like the perfect option, but all those features come at a price, okay? Just like those other lower end optics that didn't make it in this video, this one is a bit bulky and clumsy. It is by far the largest optic on the list. It is by far the heaviest optic on the list, and the mount that comes with it is the biggest and heaviest one-piece mount that I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, it's fine because if you're not gonna have a lightweight optic, there's really no point in having a lightweight optic mount, but just know that right up front. The other sacrifice that they made is in the glass. Now, it's super cool that this thing goes all the way up to 6 times magnification, but once you get up to that 6 times magnification, the eye box is not very forgiving. You have to really position your face in that perfect spot if you really want to be able to use that 6 times magnification setting. Also, that 6 times magnification setting does start to get a little bit more dim and a little bit more hazy, not to the point where it's unusable like those lower end optics that I had mentioned earlier, but still just not quite as crisp and clear as some of the other optics on this list. But if you back the magnification off to the 4 times setting, you're actually right about where all the other optics on this list fall as far as forgiving eye box and optics clarity. So using this optic at the 4 times setting definitely competes with the other optics on this list, but you do have the option of going up to the 5 or 6 times setting. So all that being said, this really is the best option for the most features at the least amount of money. And as you can see, it's found its home on my match grade AR-15. This here is the Vortex Crossfire 1:4 by 24, and this comes in at just under $200. And this definitely wins the best overall option under $200. And the reason why I give it that title is because everything that it does extremely well. Now, clearly, I don't have this mounted on an AR-15. I've got this on my, well, let's just call it a California legal AR-15, right? My cowboy assault rifle. But obviously I did test this on an AR-15. What I really love about this optic is at this price point, you get a lot of the other features that I really like, okay? You got that fast focus eyepiece, which is a little bit slower adjustment than the Bushnell, but once you get it dialed in for whatever range you want that true 1 by magnification, then it is an extremely fast and very forgiving piece of glass. Compared to the Bushnell and the TRUGLO, it is much brighter, much crisper, and a much more forgiving eye box. Now, the adjustment is a little bit slower because unlike the TRUGLO and the Bushnell, this does not come with a lever. That is sold separately. If it did have a lever, it would probably adjust much faster, but as it comes out of the box, it doesn't have that lever, and it is a little bit clumsy moving back and forth between the magnification. But at the 4-time magnification, you get a very crisp, clear reticle, a very forgiving eye box, and almost no parallax. As I'm moving my eye around, I don't really see that crosshair moving off of what I have it pointed at, which is pretty awesome. Now, the reason why I say crosshair instead of reticle is because this reticle is a duplex reticle, okay? There's not really anything special about it. It doesn't have any built-in holdovers or drop zones for making fast, long-distance shots. It's just a standard duplex reticle. However, at this price point, it is illuminated, which is very cool, especially considering that this thing is actually lighter weight than the Bushnell, plus it has those electronics built in. Accuracy from this Vortex optic is exactly what you'd expect from a name like Vortex, okay? The accuracy on this thing is absolutely awesome. As you can see, my 100-yard 5-shot group is definitely sub-MOA, and again, if you discount one flyer for using cheap ammo, we're actually into the sub-half MOA category. So like I said, this Vortex Crossfire, definitely the best all-around option under $200. You get really good crystal clear glass, you get an illuminated reticle, you get that fast focus eyepiece with a very forgiving eye box. It is just a good all-around winner. The only downside in my opinion is I would really like a reticle that has some built-in holdovers. The duplex reticle is just a little bit too boring for an AR-15 in my opinion. Now this optic, like all the other optics on the list with the exception of the TRUGLO, does not come with an optics mount. If you are looking for the best budget AR optics mount, I truly believe it's this UTG quick release mount, okay? It disconnects that easily, so you can use your backup sights in a pinch if something happens to your optic in the middle of a firefight. But the coolest thing about this mount is that if you put it right back on the same spot on your rail, you get really good repeatable zeros without having to readjust your scope. It definitely comes in very close. It's definitely gonna be the closest that you're gonna find for under $200, and it's way under $200 at about $25. Now, it's not the lightest weight optic mount, but these are not the lightest weight optics, so I don't really care. It's nice and low profile, about as low profile as you can go on an AR-15, and will still barely clear your folding buoys sights. And it has an integrated top rail if you want to throw on a small red dot on top or something. So, like I said, definitely the best budget option if you're looking for that. I'll put a link down in the description for this mount as well. Now, last up on this list is a name that you guys are sure to be familiar with if you think of budget or AR rifle scopes, and that is, of course, Leupold. Okay, I couldn't say that with a straight face, all right? Nobody thinks of Leupold when they think of AR-15 rifle scopes or budget rifle scopes, okay? They are a high-end hunting rifle scope manufacturer. So how did one of their optics end up on my list? Well, honestly, I wasn't even sure if I was gonna like this optic because on paper, it doesn't seem very special. First of all, it's not a 1:4, it's actually a 1.5:4 by 20 as opposed to a 24mm objective lens that these other ones have. This one only has a 20mm objective lens. So in theory, it means that it should be letting in less light. And I thought that the 1.5 times magnification wasn't gonna be able to compete with the 1 times magnification that's on these other scopes. But I found that to be quite the contrary. Firstly, the 1.5 times setting on this is very similar to the 1 time setting on the TRUGLO, okay? It's not a perfect 1-to-1 at close range, but once you get out beyond 50 yards, you can shoot both eyes open because at that range, it is a true 1-to-1 objective. Also, again, I thought because of the 20mm objective lens that it wasn't gonna be very bright or crisp, but it's actually complete opposite. This is the brightest and most crisp lens on this list. In fact, the glass on this thing puts all these other ones to shame, okay? I cannot believe how clean and clear it is looking through this scope, even on the 4 times magnification setting, okay? And it's got a very forgiving eye box, okay? It is perfect here, and it's perfect all the way back to here. And I can even move my eye around quite a bit. There's no parallax that I can perceive, so it doesn't appear that the reticle is moving around on the object as I move my head around. And the reticle on this is amazing. It's my favorite reticle out of all of these. It is offered in a couple of types of reticles, so you can get it in a standard duplex, which is very similar to the Vortex Crossfire, or you can get the Pigplex, which is the one that I got. And this is a very cool reticle. I imagine it's called Pigplex because it is optimized for boar hunting, which again, an AR-15 is stellar for, or really any 223 rifle at all. So as you can see, again, I don't have this mounted on an AR-15 at the moment. I of course use my AR-15s for testing, but this thing eventually found its home on this Henry lever action rifle. Now this Henry is no joke. It is actually a detachable magazine fed lever action rifle in 223. Henry sent me this one for testing and evaluation, so definitely stick around and subscribe if you want to see this reviewed on my channel just a little bit later. It is a very cool rifle. The accuracy on the Leupold, again, exactly what you'd expect from a Leupold optic. The first 3 shots I put through 1 hole. After that I got a little bit lazy, or the ammo got lazy, one or the other two. But even if you don't discount the flyers, we are still talking sub MOA accuracy at 100 yards with this thing, and man, I was just really blown away by this. So if you're looking for a less tactical option, something that would be really good for hog hunting or varmint hunting or something like that, this is a really good option. Like I said, on paper, it doesn't seem like it's all that great, but once you get it in your hands, you feel how small and lightweight it is. You see how quickly you can acquire targets and how bright and clear that glass is. I think you will really fall in love with this optic. Now the point of this video wasn't necessarily for me to crown a winner of the best budget options, but for me to give you just as much information as possible based on my experience with all of these optics so that you can make an informed decision on which is the best for you. Now, after shooting 200 rounds through all of these rifles, testing them for accuracy, testing them for reliability, testing them for the best reticles and the best glass, if I had to crown a winner, I mean, firstly, I'd have to say that it would be extremely difficult to crown a winner because, as you can see, they've all found a home on one of my rifles, and they are all very good in their own way. I don't freaking know, man. I like all of these optics, so you guys let me know in the comments which one you like best, and if you like this video, you certainly would like this video up here on the best budget red dot optics, or maybe this one over here on the best budget flashlights. So be sure to check out those. I'm Dan, this is Guns Guitars, and I will see you in that next video.